it's Saturday, or it's Friday, the 23rd, February 23rd. And so the other day, I scabbed this in. And what I'm gonna do now is work on the front end, finally. I got the bed mounted, it's in there. And you saw that at the end of the last video, and I successfully piled it full of crap. So, it looks good. I do need to take it out and paint all the crap under there that I was talking about, and I never did go get the right size, right length bolts or shim this up. So that's still gotta be done. All these little knick-knack things are starting to add up. I gotta weld the rest of the cab mounts on. They're just like spot welded still. But anyway, the main project is moving forward. That's the good thing. So anyway, I put the orange truck in here because it rained the other day, and I still never did go dump this crap out of the bed of the truck. So that's why the 4th gen's running. I'm gonna take her, and that's what I'm about to do. I'm gonna go get the upper cross member off that 4th gen, because that guy, he's super cool. He lives down in Salem, so he's like 30 minutes from here. And I'm gonna use it. Let's see, I built this last night right before I went to work. This is like a roundabout idea of what I'm gonna do. There was a guy on Facebook that had the 4th gen things for sale that go back here and tie into the cab, the structure piece. And he hacked them off, and I was like, how much you want for them? And I was like, willing to pay $150, and he said $450. And I figured he would, just by the looks of the guy. Anyway, I did not buy those. So I'm gonna build my own. I'm gonna take these, I'm gonna weld a plate to the bottom of that one. I'm gonna take that cross member and some 1/8 inch steel and whatever I gotta do, and we're gonna make this work. And then I'm gonna go get that upper cross member. I think I might get the hood latch too. I think I'm fighting myself, and that's why I'm just gonna go ahead and make this structure. I'm gonna get my cross members made, kinda first draft type made. I'm gonna put my fan back on, because as of right now, I'm just gonna run this 4th gen crap. And this is 8 inches. This seems to be a really hard angle to weld to, because, you know, right there, it is completely, well, I was using these things, so it was touching other than the width of them things in there. And then where it starts to round that bend, it gets further away. And then over here, he's touching at the bottom. And it's a difficult spot to do, apparently. So, also, I'm not even gonna use this fender because it's destroyed anyway. I'm just trying to get like a roundabout idea of how I'm gonna do this before I hack up the blue fenders back there. I'm definitely gonna just go ahead and pull this 292 in 4-speed, because I've been like on the edge about it. Oh, should I keep it? Should I just pull it and get rid of it or whatever? And anyway, the bottom line is I got too many projects. Like I said in that last video, I want a 67 through 72 crew cab to build next, and a square body. Just getting it ready for this summer. Ball joints in this thing. I gotta put a brake pad on this bike. And as far as other projects go, I want to help my dad get his gasser going. So that's gonna be one of the top projects after that truck's drivable. And then the CBR go-kart, maybe. So we're just gonna go ahead and eliminate the idea of having a big wheeled rat rod T-bucket, whatever those things are called, with the 292. And we're gonna pull this frame backwards. It ain't stupid if it works, so yeah, we'll see what happens here, I suppose. All right, this has been needing to get done probably since fall, and I've just been putting it off so I can continue working on that and basically anything else. So today we're gonna do ball joints on the 4th gen. Actually, this is gonna be operation clean up the whole truck. So mostly ball joints, because I did shocks a few months ago. I greased the ball joints, like giving them, you know, a little bit more life. This truck don't really get drove that much this time of the year because I'm not doing any side work this time of year. So the Kia has been the main rig. But anyway, I got the grill off that donor 4th gen, that truck basically. You know, it is peeling, so it is in better shape. At least it's all chrome. It doesn't have that white spot. I'm gonna put it on there. It'll be a cheap fix because I already got it. And it does have the emblem. And also I got the emblem I took off the tailgate. Oh, that's the Chevy parts. Emblem I took off the tailgate. Get that stuck on. Anyway, I'm gonna try to get another bumper. I'm gonna take this one and I might mock it up against that truck and see if it looks even halfway decent back there because it doesn't have a bumper. Because I don't know, I was thinking like a square body style diamond plate steel bumper. That'd probably look best because I want an actual truck bumper on this. I don't really want to use the roll pan again. I'm gonna have to make something to fit around the hitch anyway, so I don't think that roll pan's gonna work. Well, it's definitely not. It's already lower than, I don't know, we'll see. Anyway, ball joints. That's what we're doing. I'm glad that I finally did this. These things are loose. Look at that. I don't think it's got much side to side in it. And these moved up and down like that either. This one doesn't have a whole lot of side to side. One of them on the other side was flat out screwed, so. But nonetheless, these are loose boys. They're not tight. So anyway, I put probably about 30,000 miles on this truck. The first 15,000 miles were on these 12 wides. That's what this truck came on. And then I got these 14 wides. And the other 15, 18,000 miles were on those. Anyway, since they're stretched, I wonder if it's about the same as a 12 wide, to be honest, because it's a 12 wide tire. This one, yeah, it's clunky. Not sure what's going on in there. She ain't happy. This one's even looser than the other side. I don't know what brand these are. I bought Moog. I was under the impression that Moog was good, but then I've read in some forums, everybody's not happy with them like they used to be. So the tie rod ends are Moog. They're probably about time for replacement too because the boots are ripped on them. So we'll do that next, I guess. Well, here's the update on the Saturday afternoon. I told Ari that I was going to the hardware store, and then I came back with this. Which, in my defense, I did go to the hardware store. I had to get some things. And so anyway, yeah, so this is the other half of that truck I got last weekend. And I told y'all it was rough. They kept calling it a convertible down there. Like, I guess it was just completely rusty, and this guy was like, screw it, man. I thought they hit something, because look at this firewall. I guess that just happened when they ripped it apart with the forklift, the tractor, old John Deere, 2-cylinder John Deere, pretty cool tractor. Anyway, these windows, or not the windows, those mirrors are stainless or chrome or whatever, and I might actually use those frames. I'll get rid of these ugly square ones. Who knows? We'll see. I really liked how like that truck and then the blue truck too. They have the little arm that goes down. So who knows, I might be able to convert that piece into that. But other than that, the only thing useful on this truck is, well, maybe these. But this thing is free. He gave me a bunch of Benjamins, whole handful of them for that T92. And so anyway, yeah, this is, I don't think I just traded a good engine and transmission away for this hunk of shiz. Anyway, this is my other part of my fenders. I guess this seat apparently is an HD. Apparently they made like a heavy duty version of the seat. So yeah, I'll probably try to sell that because I sold like some nice covered seats a while back for only $100, and somebody's like, dude, that's way too cheap. You could sell a crappy seat for $100. So I'm gonna try that. I don't know, maybe the back window. That window's good, this window's busted. Then the other thing I wanted was these frames. So you see all the C60s had that. I had them for the front of my C60, but the back half of that was technically a C10, so it had just open glass. These wing windows might be worth something. And you know, this would have been good for building another crew cab, but the bottoms of these doors are flat out rotted out. They're gross. They're real bad up there. But I don't know, I might try to sell them anyway. Somebody somewhere gives, I don't even see these for sale. Like the only time I do, they're like $200 and they're in Missouri. So who knows, somebody might buy them. Oh, and the cab lights. 5 original cab lights. So that's pretty cool. And then me. And then my phone case with my orange truck on it. So this side is done, I believe. And I was just waiting to put the wheel back on, I think. Until I did the other side for some reason. I don't know. And then I ran out of grease. So that's what I went to the hardware store for. And I was just puffing some grease in my ABS hole. I don't know if it's a good idea or not. These probably have 15 to 18,000 miles on them. So on 14 wides the entire time. So we'll put her back together and test drive her and hopefully feel a major difference, because these things are screwed, man. Look at that. They even spin. This was the worst one. The upper on this side was the worst one. It's like got chunks on the inside of it, it feels like. Oh yeah, I bought these last night before I went to work. I was really wanting to do springs, but these were $30. And the reason I just went ahead and got these instead of springs is, if I do a lift kit and get whatever extension springs I have to get for the lift kit, then those will still be a leveling kit. I don't know how that really works if I get, you know, a 6-inch lift or whatever, if it's already like leveled, or I don't know. But I think that's what this truck needs. I think it needs 4 inches maybe. And I want the long control arms up. Ooh, I just stabbed myself on that. That was not cool. Anyway, I want the long track bars from the back. And I want the long ones from the front that come back to here or whatever, because those look sweet. So that's what we're gonna do with that after we get everything else done, all the important stuff up here. It would not have been possible to get this door off if I had not had ratchet wrenches, because it was only opening, it was hitting the bed of the truck there. So you can imagine, I mean, that's barely, I could barely shimmy in through that side, so I had to crawl through most of the time. It was easier. Anyway, yeah, I just had to take the hinges off on this side. And when we get back later, thing's plumb seized. Anyway, when I get back later, I'll take the rest of this crap apart, get that fender. I'm gonna take a seat out, maybe try to sell that. I don't know, it's kind of screwed, but it used to be pretty, it looks like. I don't know, this truck looks like, at a distance, it looks like it's solid, but other than the fact that it's twisted and super rusty. But I don't know, it must have got restored or painted, or I don't know, somebody let it go. See, this door looks fine, but look at this. And that one I just kind of dropped when I threw it off the truck, so it's bent at the bottom, but it's rusted out anyway, so it don't look like it's as bad. But now it's bent. I figured if this went on any legitimate rig that it would need door skins regardless, so I didn't really care that bad. All right, here's some updates. I went to do this leveling kit, and I ended up just painting the springs and the whole front end. So the frame is getting painted in sections. I still got to finish welding these cab mounts, and then I'll do that area, the midsection. But back there, the truck bed is done. Well, the frame part of it's done. I gotta hit some of the pieces of the truck bed. Anyway, that's been done. So I'll get the suspension put back together with that leveling kit. And the reason I really wanted to get that done was so that way the truck has the stance that I'm looking for. Hopefully, that's 2.5. So hopefully it's, you know, gonna be right where it needs to be, nice and level. And then it'll make it easier to build off of. So that way I don't have to, you know, when I mounted the cab, I lifted the truck up as if it was level, and that's how I got my gap down there, so that so the bottom of the rockers and the bottom of the frame look like they were parallel. Anyway, as for this truck, I got it all tore apart and scattered across my garage. Anyway, I got this where I'm done with it. I am going to take it to scrap. I took this only for the bezel, and I don't even need that because I got the one out of that truck. So I just have extra crap now. These things are cool. The orange truck had one of these. I don't know what that does. This one's broke. The orange one, the one from this truck is probably around here somewhere. But cigarette lighter, I don't think I've ever had one that actually matches, to be honest. Key switch, probably none of this crap's gonna ever get used because I'm using the Dodge stuff. This is cool. Pretty sure this was the windshield wipers. Not sure what that did, but when I first saw this, what came to mind was 2-speed windshield wipers, and then the water jet thing, because I'm gonna try to put that on that truck. But then again, I don't know if this is even gonna matter, because that's gonna have all the Dodge wiring, and that crap is already in the steering column. So all I gotta do is just connect wiring and it's done. That's probably gonna be the easiest thing to do. Right there, right there. All right, y'all, I got leveling springs put in. Well, the level blocks, springs are painted, front of the frame's painted. I don't have shocks in this yet. Also, I don't have my bolt back in the track bar. I'm gonna have to have somebody turn the steering wheel and get the frame over where I want it. It's kind of hard to get aligned with all that weight. Anyway, yeah, I didn't put shocks in there because they need replaced anyway, so. Well, anyway, I'm working on the front end right now. And so far this is what I got. I got these 2x4 pieces, and let's see, I'll bring you over here. I welded these in there. So that way I can put the nut in or the bolt in from the bottom. I'll grind off some of that slag. That looks like crap. Anyway, yeah, so I got one bolt in so far on this. And so I guess where I'm at now is going and eating some food, and then sticking the radiator in there, making sure I got a good clearance. I made these where they got like an oval shaped hole in the bottom, so I can slide them if I have to. All right, I don't have time lapse going because I am playing music. So anyway, here's my idea. Let me show you this much. I got this much done, and I cut those way shorter to fit right in there. I left a little gap, and so I made this piece, and I mirrored it. It fits both sides, so fits those two holes there. And then I'll drill the 4 dots and make those spot welds onto this thing. And then I'll weld the outer edge of it too, just for good measure. But anyway, as far as mounting to the rest of this, I think I'm just gonna have to do away with this whole factory piece altogether. And I'm thinking maybe make something out here that has a 90-degree angle to it, and bolt or weld or bolt. I'll have to bolt it so it'll all come apart. These 2x2s that I have sitting around, and it'll go back to the firewall, similar to the Dodge, but a little more boxy. And I'll just use these holes, and I'll make a new angle flange. So we'll see if we can get that far tonight. It's already almost 5. Gotta go to work at 9, so. All right, so here's the next day after the good old tornado watch. Nothing actually happened, but these got put in the garage. They didn't get rained on. I did load up all the scrap metal while that thing was backed in here, and then a handful of things I had out back, but not all of it. I ain't got enough space. Well, I thought about moving this last night up here somewhere because the battery tray liked to be up there, but I think I'm just gonna have to make a different battery tray. You know, I wanted to buy some of those Dodge things that mount to the firewall, but the one dude wanted entirely too much money for them, and not everybody's got a wrecked truck sitting around, so it's probably a good thing I'm going to build my own anyway, because then I'll have exactly what this truck needs and more how I like it than some hacked stuff off of 4th gen put into an old truck. So anyway, this is what I got. I got these 2x2s steel stock, and this is just for mock-up so far, and then I tack welded it over there to that, and I got these metric bolts. They were originally for up here, but I don't have whatever the Dodge stuff is to go into the back of this, so they're gonna go there. I'll have to get some nuts that fit those. Anyway, get some bolts that go through here, because this side's the threaded side, so it goes that way. And I'll have to put a brace from down there somewhere up to this corner, and I'm sure I'll get that put in at some point. I'm just trying to figure it out. Also, I took a picture of those things. That's what those ended up being. I'll go to the other side where you can see it better. Nice round organic curve. I thought that was cool. So anyway, I'll make some more solid piece, kind of similar to this one, to go from this area to that and fit into these holes, and it'll have a brace on each side. Probably something like that. I'm just spitballing ideas here. And so I have this front end mocked up, sitting on the piano bench. I think it's gonna work out good. That intercooler kind of has a similar shape as the front end, so that'll look cool, I think. And another thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut these off. These have to be moved back even with the fender to look correct anyway. But also, then I'll have access to my frame right there. And I believe I'm gonna cut out down here somewhere where it's just not visible at all. And that way I can push it up further against the intercooler. I think that's gonna have to happen to get this to bolt. I don't know, this one's all wavy, so it's kind of hard to tell exactly. And I don't have anything on the other side at all yet. So we're getting there slowly but surely. We're figuring it out. So this will be a good solid outer piece, and honestly, it don't look too bad. I think it'll be nice and clean right there. I can put battery trays in here. I think I'll still put the battery about midways like it's supposed to be, so I don't run out of cable. And then the fuse box was supposed to be up here. And then on the Dodge, all the wiring was ran between the two pieces of metal, so it's nice and protected. And it went in the firewall right about there. This is the exact trace out of the Dodge one, but I was gonna move it to fit around this, but I'm not sure if I'll even use that. I may integrate it in somehow. I'm not sure how I'm gonna do all this yet. I'll have to have something really solid to put my hood hinges on, or I don't know. I got those shocks off the 4th gen as well, so I don't know if they're gonna be heavy duty enough for those big old hoods, especially when it's lengthened, but I don't know. I don't think it looks too bad overall. I mean, this is the worst looking part, and that's because I haven't moved it back yet, the bottom piece. So I think if I move that back and put a bumper on the front, and there's just that 8-inch gap, it's the flat steel bumper the C60s have, It's flat compared to the C10s because they're like curved at the edge. I don't think it's gonna look bad at all, really. I need to get it all put together before I have a really good idea of how it's gonna look, but I don't think it's too bad. So here's a real crude idea of what it could possibly look like. It's a little rough right now. It's all bent up. All right, well, anyway, I think some of the things I'm gonna tackle tomorrow. I got my inner structure tacked into a general location of where I like it, and I had to trim this up a little bit. I knew I'd have to because it kind of looked like crap. Anyway, I'm gonna have to adjust this angle iron that's under there and get it exactly where it needs to be to get this body line straight. So anyway, what I was gonna say was this thing here, it's just, that thing's screwed, man. Like, it's all twisted up. I tried to hit it with a hammer a little bit, but the structural piece in here, I don't know, they must have been lifting on it while they were torching it. It's just like all bent up. So I'm thinking what I might try to do is bolt it solid to the truck where the cab is square, and then stick that thing back on the firewall how it's supposed to be, because that's not ruined, or it's not bent up anyway. And then I'll center this the best I can on that and block off the front or whatever to make it sit at the right level height. And I'll clean up all this. I thought that was kind of cool and I was gonna leave it at first, but it's gonna make it easier to get this done. So I'm gonna try to weld this fender back together. It'll make it easier to do this project. I threw the hood on just to have it on there. This is the first time I've looked at it with the hood on. And I put that grill back on. I'm going to get all this back apart tomorrow when I have some time. And then I'm gonna go get every bolt that I don't have as far as the metric stuff for the core support, because I put the AC condenser back in front of the intercooler and I don't have a single bolt that fits that. So this piece, this is a general idea of what I'm gonna do. I got all this covered up now, but so that big hole fits over the one on the right there, and then the three little where I stuck the scissors through are the other three holes. And then the top piece is just gonna connect over there to my 2x4 thing. And I'll probably bolt that instead of screw it, or instead of weld it, I mean, because it may be in the way of disassembling all this down here if it was welded. I did cut, this is the other thing, cut that off the bottom of this thing and moved it back. It's just floppy right now, so it is hanging a little lower than it's gonna be, or it would be. And so anyway, I think putting that on there and the bumper, I don't think it looks too bad, really. I mean, there's kind of a big gap there. This truck's just like really flat in the front. These C60s kind of look goofy. Anyway, I don't know. I mean, it kind of is what it is at this point. Either I continue doing it this way, or I pull the engine and I might get all this put together and weld it up and nice and pretty, and then be like, wow, this is hideous. And then I'll just go get some more fenders, or if I don't cut up my blue ones at that point, that's why I'm probably gonna scab those back together. So that way I have a really good idea of what this is gonna look like before I hack apart my blue pieces that are in good shape. So I took the old cab and took her to the scrap yard. When I pulled in, they had a big excavator just dumping pieces of sheet metal into a grinder, and it's coming. It looked like a paper shredder. And I was like, oh man. So I didn't film anything. I took a picture, I think. But I didn't film them taking the machine and just sticking it through the roof of that cab, because that would just have to have sensitive content tag over top of it. And yeah, that hurts me to think about. Hopefully I don't have to go to sleep for a while, because I'm going to have nightmares about that poor old rusty truck getting turn that money into new steel for the truck. So, the guys at the scrap place and at the place I just bought this metal, they're like, "That's a cool truck, man." Blah blah blah. A whole bunch of people came up to me, and then this one guy had a old 6.5 diesel truck, and I was talking to him about that. I was like, "That's the cool truck out in the parking lot. You don't ever see 6.5s anymore." I talked to him for a minute. It turns out he swapped a 6.2 into that truck. I guess he blew up the 6.5. For anybody that doesn't know the story, the back half of the crew cab was a single cab C10. It had a 6.2 Detroit diesel in it. So now I guess we're going to go to the hardware store and get those metric bolts that we're going to need. So that's going to conclude this week's video. We got some new hats we're going to be selling. Hoodies, stickers, and t-shirts. And I'll get a picture of the back of the t-shirts and the hoodies. They match. They're the same thing. They're just hoodies, and it's the only difference. Anyway, an orange hat too. Only had one of those as a prototype, but the dude came and bought this C60 grill that I had out of the red truck over there. And so it's gone. And he bought the only orange hat that I had. That was my favorite one. I was going to wear it all week long until I get the other ones. But yeah, it's gone. We'll have the other ones next week. But check in the next episode, and I'll show you what I've done to this truck.